And we are live. Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is the SuperBoss Podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, Ian Eatwell, and I am joined by Harrison Ngo.
What up?
And Luc Tran.
Hello, hello.
So what we do is we talk about what's going on in the nerd world, ranging from movies, comics, to video games. If you're a new listener, we'll start by talking about what we've been up to lately and any cool news we've heard. And then we'll jump into our main topic, which today is secrets.
Secrets. It's a secret.
In video
Secrets.
games.
No, it's a secret.
Our topic is a secret?
Yeah.
You're right. That's right. You're not going to know until we get there. You won't even know when we're there. That's how secret it is.
It just happens.
It just begins. Luke, how have you been doing? What's been going on with you?
Yeah.
All right.
Same.
I'm doing good. So the past week it was mainly a lot of Final Fantasy grinding. I just finished wrapping up the main Realm Reborn storyline, and I hated it, mainly for how tedious it is. And I know Harrison, you beat it yesterday too, so you can back me up.
Yeah.
It's just so much running around, and I actually took I do understand the lore and I know the story, but just sitting there and talking to people and listening to them drives me insane.
Yeah.
So, tedium there. In RuneScape, I went from, I think, 33 magic to 55 magic in...
Wow.
I think if you, wrap up the actual amount of time I spent playing, maybe, a few days. But that was super tedious. And then, just this past weekend, I finished reading a web series called Pact by an author called Wildbow. And so you can basically condense my past week to just staring at screens. Basically 24/7.
God damn.
Ouch.
And it was really great. I enjoyed all my time spent in all three of those things.
Even though it was all tedious except for the book.
Yeah.
Hell
Yeah. It was super bad because, especially with when I'm reading, I did the thing where I would read on my computer, and then when I'm not on my computer, I'm on my phone reading it. So I've been staring at screens and everything's a blur, but I had a lot of fun with all three of those things.
Everything's a
And I'm really
blur,
glad now, with our group in Final Fantasy, most people are kind of getting to the point where we've beaten the main campaign. And so now there's a bunch of post Realm Reborn, pre-Heavensward stuff, but that's where a lot of the fun stuff comes from.
Yeah.
Some actual dungeons that have mechanics more than just running around and pulling stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We have raids, so that's probably something we're going to start gearing up for.
Dude.
What's up?
Something about the Final Fantasy tedious thing is
Yeah.
when you're just running through the main story quests and stuff, you'll have something that's oh, you're talking to this person, do, and then it's oh, go talk to this person. I'll turn around to look at the quest marker and they're 5 feet across the room. It just makes me want to go
yeah, I hate that.
Hey, come here. And
Yeah,
then
God.
just talk to him yourself.
It's-
Don't make me walk 5
It's
feet.
so bad because
You guys are complaining about that?
Well, just
Well,
because there's
it
so
sucks
much
because-
of it. It's,
yeah, so much of
guess.
the quests through the actual storyline, it is just, hey, talk to someone,
Yeah.
and then talk to someone maybe a little bit over there,
Mhm.
and then come back and talk to me so you can talk to them again. And I feel like it gives such a bad impression because all the other expansions after Realm Reborn go away from just talking to people and really weird fetch quest type things where they become more intricate storyline quests. And I feel like so many people get turned off from Final Fantasy XIV because they're just like, oh, it's just like any other MMO where you just run around
Mm,
and talk to people who are just like 5 feet away from each other.
yeah. I guess my thing is like, to me, if it's like close, it's not bad. Final Fantasy got bad. To me, the worst part was when I think it was like, cause me sitting down on Sunday just playing from like level 25 to like essentially almost 50 was, I can tell like there's a moment that you had to go from one city to another city to another city, and they were all like on different continents, and essentially I didn't feel like actually being frugal about like paying through it, and I just like teleported across, and I'm like, this is so bad. Why can't I just be in one area? I'd rather have it like for instance in Oda, if you could just have one person and you just go to a different section of it, sure, but having to go through different continents was just ass. But because it's like, if it's just going to be talking, why do you make me go across a continent just to like talk to someone, then go back to the same spot?
Which
Same.
I think is funny.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure when, like with their latest update where they cut down Realm Reborn,
Oh, it's probably worse.
you were supposed to, I think, do more quests within each region.
Probably. Yeah.
But they were just, like we mentioned, like the really tedious, hey, just talk to these 5 people across this one area.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, just go there, talk to them, go back.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, it's annoying, but I'd much rather like spend 5 minutes just teleporting all around the world instead of spending an hour there just talking to people.
That's my main thing is the talking is
Yeah.
just
Like,
the problem, because I spend like
if you
10 minutes
remember-
talking and then like
Yeah.
a minute of having like an instance fight, and you're like, okay, that was fun.
The section of the main story where you don't go to Ishgard, but you go to like the outlying areas where it's like snowy.
Mm-hmm.
That was the worst
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, that's where
Because
I'm at right now.
At that point, you don't have they don't give you the bonus of the faster chocobo speed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have slow chocobo, and it's like 4 or 5 main areas you have to go between, and it's just talk to this person, go across. It's like a 3-minute walk real time to go talk to this person, and another 3-minute walk real time to go back. It's just like, please, I just want to be done here.
Yeah, and I think that's why they like it's such a good choice to like switch from like going from level 35 cap to like 60, because then at least you get to experience the first expansion. I think that's like the smartest choice they did, because it was just like
Yeah,
right now,
like,
if it was just a base,
level 30 is nothing.
no, even then, even if it was just base, I would have been like, this is a bad game. I would have quit.
Yeah.
Like if everyone was like, no, wait till expansion, I'm like, all right, I'll give it that, because I had more. To me, I had more fun playing Guild Wars than this, like base game. I was like, this is bad, but that's also just me. But
I don't know if I don't remember enough about Guild Wars.
like, so at least like with this, okay, well actually, both of them are good about leveling, because at least to me, it's not just mob grinding, because I think mob grinding is bad.
Yeah.
So, because both of them at least have like a story you can follow. So I'm like, all right, you catch my attention somewhat.
Mhm.
But I think there, and it was funny because I was talking to one of our friends about it, and we were just like comparing like what we like about each one versus the other. And like, for instance, I think Guild Wars is better with voice acting, as in like they actually voice almost everything. So it's like I don't have to just, because like there are moments when I'm playing the game and all of a sudden I find myself asleep because I'm like, oh, this is boring, like legitimately. And then it was funny because my girlfriend would be like, are you actually playing and having fun with the game? Because every time you play it, you pass out. I'm like, yeah, I just got to get through it. I've been told I just got to get through it. I mean, regardless, it's still like a fun MMO, like compared to like others. But I guess we'll see, because I think it's just more like gotta play through like expansions and all that. Because so far I feel like it's been overhyped, but I think it's also just Realm Reborn. So that's just the main thing. I had to keep concentrating and stressing. It's just a Realm Reborn every time.
Yeah, and especially I think because one of my friends is like a die-hard WoW player. He was back in like high school and stuff.
You're right.
He only played WoW basically, and I was talking to him about what his thoughts were, and it was mainly just the way Final Fantasy XIV is structured. You don't really get to do anything until you've progressed a lot into the game.
Yeah.
Like, because his big thing in WoW was he was really active in the PvP realm. And in Final Fantasy 14, you are limited to doing PvP until you hit, I think, a certain item level. I don't actually know, but you can't just jump into PvP because the way PvP is structured is it is meant for endgame. Because I think in WoW you can do PvP as like a lower level, and they'll just put you in a lower level,
Yeah,
like a
they
lower
had
bracket.
brackets,
And
which was nice.
that's not how it works in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
his like really positive thoughts on Final Fantasy were the class system.
Oh yeah,
In that
Excuse
you can basically only play one character and you can just do every class, and that's
yeah.
I think a lot more
No, I think that's great.
accessible.
Yeah, that's great.
But I definitely agree where Final Fantasy 14 doesn't show its hand very well in that you have to slog through a good amount of the game until you actually get to have fun.
Yeah.
We say this now, but after Heavensward
Not
watch, we're gonna like flip and be like, "Holy shit, this is the most amazing thing."
Well, that's what I'm expecting too, because like it's such a drastic jump looking at like I a long time ago I looked at the review scores of all the expansions, and A Realm Reborn I think is sitting at I want to say like a low 6 maybe.
Hey, Realm Reborn, right?
Yeah.
Or low 6, and
Let
then
me see real quick. Okay, so it has like a 7.3.
okay,
Mm.
yeah.
And then Heaven's Word, I know on Metacritic jumps to like an 8.6. Which is partly swayed in that I do think out of all the MMOs, Final Fantasy has the best story. So if you're
Yeah.
not super story interested, that probably detracts from the score. But it introduces new classes. It introduces 2 new classes, but the dungeons themselves, I think, are a lot more interesting.
Mhm.
And we haven't even touched the raid yet, so we might change our mind when we actually do endgame for Realm Reborn, because I don't think
I'm sure we will.
haven't done that yet.
I'm pretty sure we will. We'll see.
But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Long story short,
Heck yeah.
Harrison, I know we basically kind of been doing the same thing, but what else have you been up to? Anything else?
Yeah, besides Heavensward, not Heavensward, Final Fantasy, I did start playing Assassin's Creed again, just because I was like, I want an it's like
Odyssey.
Odyssey, yes. Only because I wanted something more active. Like Final Fantasy is fun, but to me it's like a super passive game, and I only have to remember combos, and I want more. So I was like, okay, I'll play. I'll actually try to stick with something I want to complete again, or at least work towards something. Because I remember at the beginning of the year, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna work on like finishing these X games. I don't remember, but
Yeah, the backlog.
So essentially I'm like, all right, I should work on my backlog. And I sat there like for a good bit, like on Saturday. I'm like, what do I play? Like I woke up and sat there. I'm like, what do I do? But I ended up just playing Assassin's Creed, so I've been making progress on that. I want to get to the DLC, but it's finally getting interesting, like story wise. I'm like, all right, this is cool. Like this is. I had to like put away my whole completionist mindset and try to like clear an area. And I'm like, all right, no, just do the quests that are required and just keep going. Like I should not have this much OCD about clearing a map. Because it did get to the point where like, it's not exactly great to do that. I only did it just to see if I could help get past like this quote unquote level cap that people keep or level wall people keep hitting back then. But now I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna play the game. I'm just gonna play the story. And now I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is fine.
Nice.
But yeah, besides that, also got my girlfriend. We started 2 shows. It was like between Umbrella Academy and The Boys, but I pushed for The Boys because I was like, hey, it's only 8 episodes, and season 2 starts this Friday, as in tomorrow. Or what's today? Yes.
Today's
Thursday.
Yes.
So yeah, tomorrow,
Yeah.
Friday.
So I was like, let's just finish The Boys. And we watched one episode. She watched one episode. Well, she wanted to watch one episode of Umbrella Academy. And have you guys watched that? I forgot.
No.
I've only watched bits and pieces. I haven't sat down and watched it. No.
Yeah. So we initially just watched the first episode, and I was like, all right, this is interesting. All right, we'll see. And then she watched The Boys, and it seemed like she was more hooked, as in like there's more wow factor. Like I would see her like her face would be like, holy shit, a lot more. Because I feel like
I definitely can see that.
it's like there's a lot of moments it's like, oh fuck, they just what the wait, hold up. Like a lot of fight
The
scenes.
Boys is like
they're
the shock value.
Yeah,
factor
shock
is
factor in The
insane
Boys is
in
a
that
lot
show.
way higher. Yeah. So yeah, we finished that. She finished that like in a night, 2 nights, and then now we're watching Umbrella Academy, and it's starting picking up because I think there's 10 episodes. We're on episode 9 now. I think it was just more like I've been told season 2's way better because I feel like season 1, of course, has to like set up characters. You have to like have more time with them. So I'm like, all right. But I feel like it finally picked up halfway through because I started actually paying attention more to the show. It was more like at the time, like on Sunday, it was like we'd watch, like she watched The Boys and I just have it on the side because I also want to see her reactions and stuff. I was just playing Final Fantasy on the side. But now with like Umbrella, I'm like somewhat paying attention more. So I like it so far. Like I think it's a
nice.
It's
both good shows.
Yeah, both are. I can see why people like it. I just like The Boys more so far, still. But it may be just because I like the whole idea with The Boys versus like Umbrella Academy is like, I don't know. It's definitely more out there. Maybe kind of. I don't know. I need to watch it more.
No, I can
I
see.
just don't know
like,
how to say it.
Umbrella Academy, I think, isn't as mainstream, and I think that's kind of where it's coming from.
It's becoming
like,
more mainstream.
The Boys, I think, is more mainstream in that it is more obviously about superheroes, and especially after HBO did their Watchmen series, I think the kind of anti-hero storytelling, I think, is more popular. Whereas Umbrella Academy is like, this is just the Umbrella Academy. And you either really like it or you've never heard of it. Kind of like how I feel Neil Gaiman's Sandman series is. In that it's not necessarily mainstream because it's just, this is my comic line. And that's what it is. Because the same with Umbrella Academy. It was Gerard Way's like, this is my comic.
Right.
There's no like outside influences of like, oh, it's my take on superheroes or it's my take on blah, blah, blah. It's just, this is what it is. I think that's where the differences come from.
I mean, it's still interesting, but it's more like The Boys is more like, oh, this is what would it be like if like corporate America was superheroes were like corporate America, right?
Yeah, it's like it's a lot more digestible in that,
and
you can follow it easily. Whereas Umbrella Academy is like, this is a world and these are the characters, and there's no realistic tie to something that you're familiar with. And I think that's what a lot of get interested in, is because it's just a completely different type of
it's
world.
Yeah, and I think that's just, and I think it's like different time period. It's still like based like in real life technically, but it's just like, it's just, I guess they just use superheroes in a different way, which is fine. That's totally cool. And then I think it's just more like there's just more wow and like, oh shit moments in The Boys that I like. So, but we'll see. Like we're only on season 1 and I heard season 2 gets better, so we're gonna keep going through that. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Other than that, just been chilling. What about you, Ian?
I've been doing
Suffering
with a whole lot of internet stuff, so that's always a fun time. Always a fun time. Yeah. So there's just been a lot of that this week. There's been.
Has that forced you to do anything else?
Has that forced me to what?
Like, has it like because of I know like normally like when there's like no internet, I'm like forced to do other things for once. Has that happened to you at all? Do you get what I
mean? Yeah, kind of.
Like read more. Or like
I usually just default to like my phone.
Yeah.
Because I mean I can use that still. It's mostly just we had to like get a new modem and a router, new internet service, and I'm trying to like figure out a way to hook my setup to it, which is posing to be more of a problem than I thought, but it's fine. We'll figure it out. It'll happen eventually. But yeah, I'll just default to like YouTube videos on my phone or something. Have no life on my phone. It's great. Let's see. What have I been doing? Besides a bunch of just like different work stuff, I've been doing. I started a New Game Plus in Dark Souls because I started watching a whole bunch of Dark Souls videos for some reason on YouTube.
Apparently, this
getting sucked back in.
Yeah, I was like, it just gave me like this itch when I was watching. I was like, oh man, I really want to play Dark Souls again. And I was like, well, I've beaten the 2 that I have, so why not just start a New Game Plus on one? Because I haven't done that before.
Or you could just buy 3.
You could just buy 3.
We'll see. I don't want to spend the money. I gotta work with the resources that I have.
That's fair.
Right now.
That's fair.
But yeah, so that was really interesting. And in watching all those videos, and this ties into like our main topic a little bit. It's kind of the reason why I wanted to talk about this. Was in Dark Souls 2, I found out there's like this whole like hidden mechanic in the game that they like don't ever tell you about, or at least I've never seen it. It might be like hidden in some text in like an item or something. But in Dark Souls 2, they have a fighting mechanic that is about like when you can dual wield stuff, right? So Dark Souls, it's like a RPG where you're fighting a bunch of dudes. I think everybody knows what Dark Souls is by now. But Dark Souls 2, you could dual wield stuff in 1 too, but in 1 also. But in 2, there's this hidden like system where it's like if you're dual wielding and you have like a certain stat parameters, you can do a like power stance or get into power stance, which gives you like a whole different moveset with those weapons than you would normally have. It's freaking psycho. It was so cool to like read about it at least. So I was like, I want to try that. And I loaded up 1 though instead and started New Game Plus in that. But that's besides the point.
Completely derailed, but
yeah. But like, yeah, it was. And I mean, it's Dark Souls, right? Like I'm used to. And the thing in 1. Well, now it's just bleeding into the topic that I was going to talk about. We'll say that for later. But yeah, it's so I started New Game Plus in that. That was fun. Did I do anything else?
Are you doing anything new in your New Game Plus, or are you just kind of sticking with the same build?
I want to do something new, and in 1 it's hard because you can't like respec. I want to do something a little different though, so I might try. Cause in my first run through, I did like, well, my first run through is actually all over the place. But it ended up being like this build specifically so I could wield the Abyss Greatsword.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have like buco stats for that. You have to have 18 in like faith and intelligence, and then certain parameters in strength and dex. So it's like the weirdest freaking greatsword.
Yeah, it's like a weird hybrid build.
But yeah, so I think I've been wanting to try like some kind of dex build or bow build or something weird, just to see if I can do it. Those are the kind of like Dark Souls videos I've been watching. They've been like items only build or like bow only build or stuff like that. Been pretty great.
Just the super goofy ones.
Yeah. A lot of the times they use like some
like mods or something.
Not mods, like skips and stuff, like speedrun strats and stuff.
Okay,
sometimes to get through certain bosses and stuff. There's some silly one where it's like a series where he'll do like pacifist run and he'll only use like the NPCs that you can use to fight the boss with.
Yep,
it's
hilarious. I know what
hilarious.
you're talking about.
Yeah. Those are really funny. But besides that, because of the whole internet situation, I haven't been playing too much, so that's about it for me. Have you guys heard anything cool and new this week? I know I have. I
What are you gonna say?
heard something today.
I was
actually.
gonna say, what are you gonna say from today? Because I was gonna say
It's
something from today. Cough, cough.
Oh, go for it. I'll let you go.
No.
I'll let
No,
you go.
you're-
I'm the host.
you're-
You're my guest.
I'll give you this one because I feel like it's the same thing. And you're spoiler
No,
alert.
please,
You're the Nintendo
please.
boy. Let's
you're,
go.
You're the entertainer.
Fine. No, it's just.
I'm merely a vessel for you.
Okay, but what was it? So it was funny because like my brother was sending like a trailer and he said like, oh look, Super Mario game's coming out, or like it was like a what was it? It was like I think it was a 3D world or something. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I thought it was just like a random Nintendo just dropped a random trailer, and then he dropped another thing. I was like, wait, hold up. I look online, I realized, wait, there's a direct today. There's a Mario direct specifically. So I thought that was pretty cool because they
35-year anniversary.
yeah, and it just did like
Yeah.
it was just some random stuff that I didn't expect, and then some like because it's been rumored for a while. I just didn't expect like I've just totally forgot that was gonna happen, or I just didn't know when.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right.
so I kind of reassuring because I was like, okay, cool. It's stuff that is nothing too crazy, but I think the cool part was like, oh yeah, they're just like porting all these Mario games. Like I think there's the collection that had like 64, Sunshine, and or what was that called, Galaxy. So I'm probably gonna buy that. Are you guys even interested in any of that or getting any of that?
Yeah, I'm interested in it just because I've kind of been wanting to go back and play Sunshine.
Same.
I've been wanting to go back and play a lot of like GameCube games for some reason, but I'm interested. I don't know if I'll buy it. I have to have a Switch first.
Oh yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I'm glad they're doing it, but I did really like Super Mario Sunshine. I never beat Galaxy actually, but I think it's cool. I'm interested, but I'm probably not gonna buy it. There are other games I'd rather be playing, honestly.
Yeah.
But I am glad that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Hell
So
yeah.
I think that's cool. I was looking into the Super Mario World, like, because I didn't play much on my Wii at the time, or I think it was Wii U, whichever one it came out on. Because my girlfriend played a lot of those, and she was like saying, "Oh yeah, you should totally play it." So I'm like, "Oh hell yeah," because at least I like platformer somewhat to an extent. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it. Mario 35 was a thing. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So did you guys watch the direct?
Yeah, the like 35
Actually,
multiplayer
yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically like a copy of Tetris, right?
Yeah, but I think it's still cool. I was like, okay. It was funny because like a lot of stuff that they were touching on, everyone's like, oh, that's kind of like this version. Like there's a version of that for Mario, and then like, oh, and also like for instance like 64, they had like someone made like an HD version of it, and then they had to take it down. And it was funny because I'm like, that means Nintendo's doing something, because otherwise they wouldn't have done that forever, because they usually don't touch anything like ROMs or anything like that until like, oh, they actually are going to use it. So 64 was like, okay, it's probably because they want to sell it. So
Right.
but yeah, all that stuff's really cool. I think it's just nice, but I think I want to see more once the Zelda anniversary hits. I want to see them port more stuff.
That's gonna be really
like
cool.
Wind Waker or like Twilight Princess. I want to see that stuff. So we'll see.
That'd be sick.
Skyward.
I want a Metroid anniversary. Hint, hint.
Woo.
Funny.
That'd be spicy.
No, we'll never get it. Being a Metroid fan is suffering.
It is.
What about you, Luke? Anything interesting?
Honestly, I feel like because of what I've been doing the past week, everything I've read is just like a blur.
I feel you. No worries.
The only thing I know, it's only because I looked at it earlier today, is that I think the review embargo for Marvel Avengers was dropped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it got reviews. That's about it. It seems like it's just like, I think the reviews were average, and I think the game is just an average game.
Oh, 76. That's pretty good.
The only things I think I could take away from reading all the reviews that I read was that The game could be a lot better depending on how it's supported because it is a games as a service game. But also, because it is a games as a service, it's not that great just as a game. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword in terms of the way the game is, but that's the most pertinent thing I can think of in my head because my brain is mush.
Yeah, because it looks like a lot of reviews are just in progress, but that's just a product of games.
I mean, that's just like the nature of the game. I still have basically no desire to get that game. I don't know. I feel like, Harrison, you might be the one out of the three of us to most likely get it.
Most likely, yeah, but I won't.
Even then, I feel like you're not going to.
Like, if I got it, I would just play, like, the story, and then that's it. Then be on my way. And that's why I'm like, is it worth for me just to do that? Because I played the beta. I'm like, this is fun. Like, it's cool. But it's more, I think it'd be more fun if you had, like, a team to play. So, like, if other people would play and you had a co-op thing going, then yeah, sure. I think that'd be fun. But
yeah, like, I honestly think this is a game where you wait until the price is dropped, because then at that point it's probably closer to a more complete game because it's probably had maybe a year or so of updates. So even then I'm probably not going to buy it, but I think it's definitely a game where you just wait to buy, because they have announced like a lot of like I think they've announced 3 free characters that are going to be included.
Yeah, and
then obviously, because it's games as a service, you can expect more updates. Yeah. So I'm sure as the game goes on, it'll be fine.
I do want to see how well. Like, I hope it does well, because or at least see how much it changes over time. Because like a lot of times, it's like initially it's always in the growing pains. So I just kind of assume year one we can after year one we can get a better idea of how it's gonna play. Because like DC Universe Online took a while to like build up. There's another Marvel's game too that was like bad on launch, but it got better. It was like a top-down one, but that one is kind of like this. So that's what a lot of people are saying. Or the idea of it is like you can play whatever hero. So yeah, we'll see. I probably won't get it right away. I may get it later. We'll see, depending. But part of me kind of does wish it was like just like a story-based game. Well, I mean it is, but it's more like you know what I mean, like a single player,
not a game service type game.
But because I don't want to pick a game where I have to like sink in time. You know what I mean? Like another one. You know, so we'll see.
All right. Well, then going back to Dark Souls and leading into the topic.
Wait, what was that
about?
Did I take the
secrets?
The thing that you were going to talk about? Was that Nintendo?
Yeah, we were going to talk about the same thing.
Oh, what?
That's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're good. That's all that matters. Mario 35-year anniversary. Nothing else matters.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, so leading the topic, I want to talk about like secrets in games and if there's any like memorable like secret thing that you like discovered when you were a kid and it blew your mind. You're like, oh, I just found this really cool thing, or any games like that. Or maybe you like had to look it up, but it was still like a cool thing that you wouldn't have been able to do without looking it up, like I did in Dark Souls. Apparently, in Dark Souls 1, this is another thing I found from watching those videos. There's a whole other area that I just missed because it's behind like an illusory wall.
Oh, you're talking about Ashen Lake?
You can become a dragon person and pledge your allegiance to the dragon cult. And what? Like, I just missed it completely. And I guess I don't know. It is kind of like alluded, like the area that it's in. It is kind of like, oh, maybe like there's a bunch of stuff happening here. Maybe you should like explore this instead of just going like straight through.
Which I'm guessing you went straight through.
It was just wild. Yeah. I was like,
so
screw
funny.
Blighttown. Fuck this place. I want out.
They put the secret in Blighttown, which is like in Dark Souls 1, it's considered just straight the worst place to be in. Both in terms of like it is not optimized. Like it has horrific performance on most PCs.
Oh.
And it's just a miserable place to be. Like, everything just poisons you. When you get to the bottom, you're just running through like muck, and it's slow, and these giants just throw rocks at you. It is a miserable place to be.
Yeah.
And like, so for context, the place Ian's talking about is called Ashen Lake.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to down to the very bottom, there's a main story boss on basically one side of the bottom of Blight Town. You have to go to the complete opposite side of the map, and you're like having to run through all this muck, and you go up this giant tree branch that blends in. It like almost blends into the background anyway. And you go into this little cave, and there's a treasure chest, and behind that treasure chest is a secret wall, and I think is another treasure chest, and then there's a second secret wall. Which in Dark Souls 1 there is no other instance of two secret walls in one area.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go through this like horrifying gauntlet of monsters that add a really bad debuff. And you just get to the very bottom, and then suddenly like, here's a whole new area, by the way. Have fun. It's like very, very out of the way. And it's something that they've done in other games too. Like, I'll let you keep talking, but like they basically did the same thing with Dark Souls 3. I guess maybe spoiling it for you, but
yeah,
they did something like that.
Yeah.
And it's even worse, like trying to get there.
Yeah. I've seen Dark Souls 3 all the way through, so no spoilers for me at least.
Have you seen Arc Dragon Peak then?
Sorry, one more time.
Arch Dragon Peak. Is that ringing any bells?
Probably not.
Nameless King?
Yes. All right, I heard you that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about Arch Dragon Peak in Dark Souls 3. But I'll let you keep going about Dark Souls because I rudely interrupted you.
The segue must continue.
The segue.
Unless...
We may have lost him, so let's just keep going anyway.
But do we take over the segue?
Let's take over the segue.
Take away his thunder. Because what Ian wanted to talk about... I think he's back in the call. Love Discord. But, maybe not. All right, so what he wanted to do was essentially talk about secrets, right? So I think he was trying to lead in from using that and segueing into secrets. What else? It was like secrets or like random stuff that we found, right?
Just like secrets and Easter eggs in video games. Not even necessarily ones we found before, but just, you know, if we've discovered them or when you did discover them after looking up online, what did you think and stuff like that?
Because I was just going to... I feel bad because I feel like he wanted to like talk more about it, but essentially my secret, the funniest one I thought was always in the Halo series, and it was always like, I think the bigger, because I played Halo 3 first. Do you remember? Because you played through the campaign, right? I'm assuming. Do you remember how the caveman family?
Yeah, in the
it's like the very first level. And I remember because it's like something I didn't know, right? Like just playing through because me just trying to get through the game, and all of a sudden, like I think one of our friends at the time was like, "Hey, check this out." I was like, okay." Looking to jump across like this, like the ledges and all that, and then he's like, "Look at this corner." I was like, okay, cool." And then you just see this family. I was like, of cavemen. I was
just like, what is that?
Fuck. And so, I mean, I was like, wait, is there more shit like that? And then that's when I learned about skulls. And I was like, oh, there's skulls across the fucking... Oh, my God. So, I think it's like, I don't remember if I found one by accident or just didn't find them at all. I was like, oh, shit, now I have to actually go back and look for this stuff.
Yeah, I think in terms of Halo 3, I never found skulls naturally. I had to like... I looked it up because I think one of the armor. I think it was one of the armors you unlocked for multiplayer. I think you had to find a certain amount of skulls.
I think so.
Or you had to like beat the campaign with a certain number of skulls active. And so that's how it got started for me.
It was, yes, it was. I think it was the one where you had to like have all skulls on, legendary lasso.
Yeah, because I think it was it the Hayabusa armor?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
yeah, that's where the whole secret thing for me started, because I would we played Halo multiplayer, and I saw these like really cool sets of armor. I was like, I have no idea. So I would just go on the internet like Halo ninja armor, like whatever, and then I found like, oh, you find these things just randomly throughout these random levels. You just got to pick them up. You're like, okay, I'll start with that, and that's how I got started with Halo secrets.
Yeah, and there's a lot to that in that game, but I think the other funny one was it was, I forgot what level, but essentially you have to evacuate the base. But when you're on the way out or on the way in, no, on the way out, and you hear like these two guys talking, and I didn't realize at the time because I only heard one line, but I didn't. It was like the red versus blue guys.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's just like these little cool Easter eggs.
And it was just so funny because like being like a huge fan at the time, I was like, wait, is that? And you realize like, oh, that's them talking. Holy shit! And then I didn't realize that later. There's at different levels of difficulty, it was different cast members talking. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And so I would just play at certain levels just to get to that point. I'm like, all right, let's see if there's something different.
Like, really, for me, the way I find secrets, because most times when I play through games, I never look stuff up. It's always looking at, I look at the achievement list. Because nowadays, like I know they do it with PS4 and Xbox, is you can look at all the achievements, but they're secret achievements, and they just say like, play more of the game to discover them or something like that. And that's how, or like I said with, like to unlock cosmetic items, you have to do secrets. I'm like, okay, it's like there's something going on here. And that's kind of where I discover almost all of mine. Like I remember, so for like the original Doom and Doom 2, they have secret levels. And for the console re-releases, there are achievements for finding them.
Oh. Achievements? Oh, okay.
And,
yeah.
Yeah, this is for the like specifically when the Xbox 360 had their remaster. You could see like, okay, there's something going on. And so you would just kind of wander around, and it's really nice because they always like, I feel like in older games they give you little like hints like, hey, like in Zelda, like that wall looks different, and so you like run around the entire map trying to find out like, okay, something's weird. Up. Or there's certain levels in Doom where I have all 3 keys, but I've never used the gold key, so something's up.
I missed something.
Yeah, and you would spend like hours trying to find it out, and it was really cool because you get rewarded with Doom 2. You would go to the secret Wolfenstein levels because id Software they did like the original Wolfensteins too, so it was like a really cool secret where everything is thematically like Wolfenstein. Like you have Nazis, and you have like all this Nazi symbolism and like posters of Hitler, and it was just like a cool nod to the other franchise. And they even had a Commander Keen reference, which is a super old one.
Ooh, that is old,
but just really cool stuff. And that kind of leads me to another really cool set of like video game secrets. Are how much do you know about like the Call of Duty Zombies stuff?
I only played World at War. I didn't play beyond it, but I know like it was like the same universe, quote unquote, right?
Yeah. Like, have you seen how complex it gets?
Like the whole like the timeline, like how
there's like storylines. It's basically its own campaign.
Yeah. I did. I kept up with it like somewhat.
And I have zero idea. Like when we first got, like back when we were in like middle school or high school, we'd play World at War and like, we'll just play zombies. And like just a few years ago, there's a streamer on Twitch I like
Yeah.
to watch, and he used to do a lot of like, oh, I'm gonna do world first, or I'm gonna be the one to figure out
Yeah.
the secrets. And he had a core team to figure out the secrets, and I watched him, and I was just blown away because I had no idea like how complex these sort of things went. Because I just thought for the longest time, like, oh, it's just like a horde
Yeah,
of zombies,
which it is.
You expand the
Yeah.
map, and but then it's like, oh, if you listen to what the NPC says, and you do these certain steps, and you go to this device,
Yeah.
and you pull these 3 switches in this order,
Unlock
then a secret opens, and I'm just like, what is
like an
happening?
area, like an area opens, or you get this thing, right?
Yeah, or you get the super
Yep.
secret weapon.
Yeah. No, and it's funny because it's always like you have to have a team to do that. I remember looking at it, it's like one of our friends was like, "Oh, I want to do that," and they were like the ones that like paid attention to like knew the little things, and I just kind of follow along. But watching more like you did, like I didn't know there's so much more to that, and it's crazy.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no
Nope.
hint.
Nope.
That's the stuff that just drives me crazy. Where I don't even know how you would find that out.
And that's just just an update for listeners. Speaking of Ian's internet, it's gone to shit.
Yeah, we lost Ian, so we'll proudly go on without him. We just stole the entire segue
Yeah.
from him,
We just stole,
and that's just how it works.
we just used the segue, and now we're here.
now we're here. I'm trying to think. Are there any like Destiny secrets or Easter eggs? Because I know that's something we played for a long time, and I'm trying to think.
I don't
Like, it's more of like the big one is getting Divinity. It's an exotic weapon, and it's kind of a secret, I guess. And like,
okay, yeah.
you get the quest, but the quest tells you like there are no hints whatsoever
On how to
like
do it.
how do you get Divinity.
Oh man, yeah.
I feel like there are, because they do have a lot of like. No, there are secrets. We're being super stupid. Like Whisper
No, yeah.
or 0 Hour. I'm like, okay, wait, those are huge secrets.
It's just harder to say. It's because for us, we played like after year 2, right? So it's like we find all this stuff online because you get the quest. But I'm pretty sure back then it was like, oh, you had to figure out how to do it, right?
Yeah, or the quest line to get Bastion, the exotic, kinetic.
Oh my gosh, that was
fusion rifle. That's what they call it. Yeah, that was something that happened like while we were playing. It was a new edition.
Then like I mean, you can even count like little things where we say secrets, but there's like little things in the games that like if you don't notice, you wouldn't even notice. Like you would notice if you didn't do anything with it. Like for instance, like the soccer. At first, everyone just sees the soccer ball.
Yeah.
If you just look at the field, because this was back in year 1, like when everyone was actually at the farm, and you see the soccer ball, you're like, "What the fuck?" And you realize, oh, you can have legit soccer games.
Yeah, you can play the game.
And then even like I think at the tower, there's like a little mini game you can unlock where you have to get the orb to a certain point, and you play like like the lava game and all that. So
yeah, and then you get the giant travel ball.
And there's like little things like that. But I guess I just
Can you think of like what's your favorite secret or Easter egg from like all the games? Do you have any
favorite
like,
one?
particular?
Ooh.
Or just one you thought was just really cool?
So I think the cool one, and this is maybe not a secret because it was a mechanic, but Metal Gear Solid, when you had to fight Psycho Mantis, it's like the part where like he's like he knows your every movement, or like he controls everything.
Yeah.
But in order to
I know what
but
you're talking about.
So spoilers, because if you haven't played this is like the part that, because at the time me and my brother bought this for our PS2 because we got the HD remastered at the time because we wanted to play it, and we were playing it, and it was funny because at the time the game came in a CD case back then, but when we got it, of course, it was like the DVD box. So the thing is, when you play the game, it gives you a hint on how to beat him. I think it was that, or it was like Meryl, but essentially, we didn't know for the longest time how to beat it, and we're like, "What the hell is going on?" But then we realized Ego Raptor did like a video on Newgrounds about it, and we're like, "Wait a second, what does this mean?" And then we're like, "Wait, to beat him, you have to literally switch your ports, so then he can't fuck with you."
Yeah, that like. So a little more context on that
Yeah.
boss is that he's one of the bosses in, I think, is it Metal Gear Solid
No, it was
3?
he in one or Metal Gear Solid 1.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way that boss works is that he basically reads the inputs from any controller put in the port
Yes.
1. So you have to physically like swap your controller. And like throughout that fight, it's another like weird mind screw thing he does. He reads the other games on your memory card.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And he's like, "Oh, it looks like you've been playing like
Jack
I don't know.
Jack and Daxter for
You-
instance,
you-
or something.
yeah, you have 16 hours in Jack and Daxter, don't
Yeah.
you?" And like as a kid, you're just like, I'm
It
terrified.
was actually kind of
I'm legitimately
it was
terrified.
really fucky. I was like, holy
Like
shit.
he's reading my mind. And that's another series that I think is kind of famous for
Mhm.
doing that.
It was-
There's I think this one is in Metal Gear Solid 3. It's a sniper boss.
I was gonna say that too.
And there's like 3 different ways you can actually beat him, because the kind of box standard ways you have a sniper fight
Mhm.
with him. But there are ways to, because he's an old man, you can basically set the time on your console forward. I think you have to do at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he just dies of old
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait, he does what now? Or the way the fight works is that he has a bird that acts as his spotter, and you can kill his bird, and then the boss fight becomes a lot easier. Or like even way past that, you actually see him in game like way before that fight, and you can just kill
Yeah.
him then.
Yeah.
And it just negates the entire boss fight, which is to me like crazy, because that's kind of, I guess, Kojima's thing, is that for players who are willing to like experiment with the game engine, they can do some really wild stuff.
And I remember like my brother, because he spent so much time in Metal Gear Solid 3, and I think he read up on that, and he wanted to try it out, and he did it, and he's like, this is legit, this is so crazy. I think like, because Kojima's like, those games were like just, it's just so cool. It was something else. It was so cool how like you had to think outside the, like, I think one thing was, and that's what I was trying to mention to you. I don't remember if it was Psycho Mantis or it was something else, but essentially, it was a codec thing. Like you had to figure out how to call someone, but in order to get it, they're like, you had to have the CD, and you pick it up and it all would just say like, read the back of the case, and I'm like, what does that fucking mean? But it legitimately meant the case of the game, and everything's
there's a phone number on the
and you had to
case.
use that. And I'm like, that was so cool. I think
it's some like really wild
Yeah.
stuff. Because I think one of my favorite Easter eggs, like it's not really cool, but it just shows like a really big passion, I guess. In Darkest Dungeon, the way the game works is that you make a party of 4 out of all these classes. And the thing is that depending on, if you pick certain classes and you put them in a very specific order, then they're called a different team.
Oh.
And that team correlates to like other people's real life Dungeons and Dragons campaigns.
Oh, what?
Like, Critical
Yeah.
Role? Their season 1 of Critical Role, their main party was called Vox Machina.
Oh, right.
And I think if you have, I don't even remember what the team comp is, but if you have 4 of the classes in a specific order, then the team is just called Vox Machina.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they have like 18 different D&D names that they have, and it's just really like, it's just like you would never expect it, because it's so like fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
That it's really cool, because I think Darkest Dungeon is kind of like a really nice love letter to the D&D like franchise, because it's like this really hardcore dungeon delving game that they kind of pay it back. We're like, oh, here's Vox Machina, or here's The Wall, or even like, I don't even remember them all. There's like 18 of them, and it shows that they actually really like the Dungeons and Dragons franchise enough to put those names in.
No, I think that's really cool. Like that's like a super cool homage to all that.
I was gonna say, you know the Did You Know YouTube
Oh,
franchise?
dude, yeah, I used to watch that stuff religiously. Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say like, did you ever watch them, and then like, did you like watching
yeah.
them? Because some people like they don't really care about video game secrets,
Oh,
and I feel like because both of us have a thing where like you mentioned with Assassin's Creed, we're both completionists. Does the need of completionist, does it make you look for the secrets and stuff, or like do you tend to just play the game and then if you look up secrets after, you just like, oh, that's really cool, but I'm not gonna like go back and play it type thing.
I feel like it's the latter, but it's dependent on. I think it does depend on like how much I like the game, and if it's like most of the time when I watch those, it's because a game or something related just came out on it, so it's like they like touch on it for a bit, like on development and all that. But like for instance, I think like if they were to say something about like Pokemon, right? Like the end fight of like an end fight or something. What was it? I'll touch on that later. But essentially, yes, I don't think. Sorry, to answer your question, I don't think I would go back. Before I go on a tangent, I don't think I would go back. But I think it's like, oh, that's cool. I kind of wish I'd go back and do that type of like. For instance, when I saw one for like Black Flag, it was the whole for the 4 ships in the corners. Like they alluded to it, but I never finished it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So that was like the last thing I needed to do. But then for some reason, I got it on PlayStation 4, and then afterwards I bought like the PC version, and I was like, oh, do I do that again? Get to that point? Nah, guess not. What about you though?
Oh, you missed out.
I
Those fights
played
are
because I
really
played 2.
fun.
Actually, I played 2 of them. I think the one I stopped at was the twins.
That's
That
the
was
hardest one.
I was like, this is bullshit. I think it was like the twins, and then the one with the stupid large health bar. It's like the
the one that like it keeps ramming you.
Yeah,
Yep,
Yep.
I know what you're talking about.
It was that one and the twins, and I think I beat the other 2. Yeah,
Yeah, there's the mortar one, and then
because
the
it's
ghost
like
ship.
it's like things like you don't have to beat those. It was just like if you want,
Yeah, they're like purely
Yeah.
optional.
which I think is so cool. That's like another thing. Yeah, I kind of wish like there's a part of me like I want to play through the games again, but then it's like knowing certain things like that. I'm like, ooh, knowing me, if I play the game, I'll kind of want to do it. Okay, actually, speaking of, you Kingdom Hearts 2, you beat spoilers. There's like the super boss, Sephiroth.
No,
Yeah.
Sephiroth?
He was in 2.
Yeah, I remember Sephiroth in 1.
Or was it
The
one?
super boss that I remember from 2 is the Forgotten Armor.
Yes, there's man, am I mixing? I'm just more bugged. Did I mix it up?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Sephiroth is in
Yeah.
2.
Because
So
like,
you're not going insane because I think it was a notable point because he was not in 3.
Yeah, he was not in 3.
Whereas he was in
Yeah.
1 and 2.
Because in 2,
But yeah.
you wouldn't have even seen him in the main. Like, you would have to actually go out of your way to like find him, kind of. So, yeah, I think that one was cool. Well, mostly just because I watched my brother play that one because he was agonizing on trying to get the right build just to beat Sephiroth. Maybe it was like 1 or 2, but essentially you had to get like some kind of jump and then some kind of like attack to do it. And I was like, dude.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. So going back to that, what about you? Because you asked me that. What about you with the whole completionist thing? Would you just say like that's cool or?
So usually, I feel like, at least with a lot of the modern games I've played, there is no like super hard secret to find.
True. Yeah, I can agree. On that.
So usually, like in the pursuit of like 100%ing a game, I get the secrets, and I usually do get to experience like the cool stuff. Like with the older games, because for like almost every game I play, I just like I'll play it completely blind, and usually I go back and like most games I play more than once. I think.
Yeah. And
usually at that point, like if there is a new game plus,
you go back on that.
That's when I'll like, hey, let's see what I missed
Yeah.
type things.
Because I'm trying to think.
I was gonna say, like with God of War 2,
Oh,
they do it a little differently because I think they're just in New Game Plus. You unlock all the bonuses, in that you have like different costumes and they let you have different
Right.
powers. So stuff like that, I'll go back and like I'll play through
Mhm.
that, just because it's fun. Like you get the power trip.
because
I'm trying to think of other games that have secrets
like
like that.
I know for me it was more like, oh, the Batman one. There's Batman. Did you hear about this? Is the one I didn't find out, but it was like when it broke, people were like, it was like on a lot of like gaming sites. It was like Arkham Asylum, the Calendar Man. How on a certain, so the whole thing with him is like on each day, if you talk to him, he'll like say certain things, or like he'll like allude to like different stories. I think like about like if it's a holiday, he'll like talk about it. But like
Yeah.
I think the whole secret, which was discovered like years later, but essentially, if you set your date to December 13th, 2014, or not 2004, there's like a new dialogue, and apparently, if you talk to Calendar Man that day, it alludes to the end of the game. Was it? No. It was teasing the end of the Arkham City, I believe. But it was like you wouldn't have known. It was like the fact that they were talking about the events in Arkham City. That's crazy. But I think the end of Arkham Knight, maybe it was probably. I think that's what it was, or something like that.
It's funny you talk about that because there's another secret. This is something where I heard about it, but I never went back to verify. I just thought it was
Yeah.
really cool. This was like way after I beat Arkham Asylum. The secret is there's a secret room in Asylum that doesn't show up even if you use like your bat vision.
Oh, wait.
And it's like it's a puzzle in and of itself to even get into the
Mhm.
room. And when you get into the room, there's a blueprint. And if you look at the blueprint, it maps out Arkham City.
Yep. Yeah. I remember hearing
So
about that too.
they teased Arkham City before like the game was even officially like announced. And so it's stuff like that where like I think
That's
it's
what
really
it was. That's
cool.
what it was. So that was the Easter egg. That was like the big one. Was like, oh, they actually teased Arkham City. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But then this one was like alluding to Arkham Knight. I think that's what it was, because it was like saying,
Yeah, which is like huge.
because he's like, oh, he was like essentially saying, Batman, you'll be there for your like demise, like for the end.
Mhm.
And I was like, at the time, because like I think this was when Arkham Knight came out, or it was about like no, when it came out, and people were like, holy shit, they alluded to it this entire time since the beginning. So that's cool, man. Man, Batman was such a fun game. Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum was great.
It makes sense that it also has like those kind of Easter eggs, just because it's like, are you a detective?
Yeah.
Are you a bad enough detective to find
Yeah.
these? It's like, yeah.
Yes.
Or like, I'm bad enough to watch YouTube where I can figure out.
Man, oh my god. The secret ending for Arkham Knight though was essentially you had to 100% the game. And
Yep.
I got so close. I essentially, because there's like a certain type of missions you have to fight, like do like I think like there's a lot of like it dealt with each like villain essentially, like, oh, Penguin, you have to like, essentially it was like Batman trying to tie up loose ends. And the last
Mhm.
one I could not do was the Riddler stuff, because there was just so many of them,
Yeah, it's just
and it was just so time
time-consuming.
consuming. And I already spent so much time like 100%ing everything else. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna look at the ending on YouTube.
Yeah, we didn't even like talk about
Oh, no,
secret
yeah, we
endings,
haven't.
and this is all about
Yeah.
secrets because like I love when there are
Oh,
secret
same, dude.
endings.
It's so great.
Like I think the biggest, most recent one I think a lot of people can point to is Undertale, where I think it's partly because it goes back to like, it's trying to emulate basically like Earthbound or something like way back in the SNES days where secrets were really hard. I think that's partly like it's playing up on that nostalgia, because spoiler alert for people who haven't played Undertale, there are 3 endings. And each one is completely separate from each other, and each one has very different requirements to
Mm-hmm.
get them. And I think that's really cool. And that's something where I would have to go back and play.
You would go back?
Because I don't. Yeah, like it's effectively just 3 different run throughs.
Oh,
of the
okay.
game.
Yeah, if it's just a run through, yeah, I'd probably go back. But I guess it depending on like the difficulty.
Oh god,
Because I think
the difficulty is so hard on one of them. There's the
2 main ones, right, that everyone knows, and then the third one's the secret, or is it all of them? I
there.
couldn't remember.
I guess it's like I don't know if they're even secret anymore. I don't know. There's one I think that's considered maybe like the bigger of the secrets. It's spoiler alert. It's the genocide route. That's I guess what you would consider secret because the requirements of that are a lot more difficult because you have to kill everybody. And that includes like enough random encounters. The way it works is because it works by random encounters for like random enemies. You have to have enough random encounters to at a certain point you have a random encounter and the game just says no one showed up, implying that you killed everybody in the area.
Man,
and that route is super hard because the last boss fight is another spoiler alert for people who want to play Undertale. Is Sans, and because my girlfriend did my girlfriend did all three Undertale routes. Yeah, and that boss fight is so hard. Partly because that one route I think plays more into like the meta of a video game. Do you know anything about Undertale / like the genocide route?
I lightly read up on it, but that was like years ago or whenever that.
Okay.
So refresh.
Like they basically go into the meta of like turn-based RPGs.
Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Where, because the way it works in Undertale is that, you know, it's turn-based and you have like 4 actions you can do. And it even starts out like you trying to attack Sans and he's like, oh, I'll just dodge the attack. Like I can just do that. And he's the only character who does that. Because it's always like, you know, you do your attack and they do damage, they do their attack and you take damage. And he's just like, I will just avoid it. And you're just like, whoa, like this is already weird. And as the fight progresses, he starts doing his attacks on your turn. So you're just like, okay, like the entire like thing, this system is breaking down.
That's what it was. And yeah, I remember those.
Like the penultimate part for this is major spoilers again for if you're already in here, I guess you don't care about spoilers. But he like as the fight goes on, sounds like I'm charging up my ultimate attack, ultimate attack's coming. And his ultimate attack is like on his turn, he just doesn't do anything.
Oh, that's what. Yes, I remember that. I was like, because I remember it was like 3 things. It was like that, and then how he could dodge. I think that was the big thing, and then like starting attack on your turn. But there was there anything else?
Yeah, he just like it's my turn.
Was there anything else with that, or was that like the big 3 like mechanics that like just freaked out
for Sans?
Yeah,
the whole thing is that the way you actually beat him, you have to wait long enough. Like you have to wait a few minutes, and he falls asleep, and you have to drag your cursor so it moves the like encounter box close enough to where you can select attack.
Oh,
it's just like really cool. Like it's this like meta take.
I gotta check this out because I remember reading into it, but I didn't like watch it because part of me at the time was like, oh, I'm gonna play it, but it's been years now, so
you should play it. It's so fun.
I have it. It's just it's hard.
Yeah. It's so hard. Like that boss fight, I think took my girlfriend maybe 2 or 3 days before she was able to beat it.
That's so satisfying. That must have been so satisfying, though.
She was really happy when that happened.
And I guess that's also like the amount of effort I'd be willing to put into like finding it, you know, like actually doing like those secret endings type of thing.
Yeah, like a secret.
So, because I tried to do like Batman was like probably like the most recent thing I can think of. That was like, oh, I'm actually going to try to 100% this game because I love it so much.
Yeah.
And then that happened. I was like, fuck this game. oh gosh.
You know
what?
Mind.
Another secret ending was the Halo one too, actually. Halo 3. Oh, actually, remember how Halo always did that? Like, if you do the legendary route, you get like as the actual ending.
Yeah, you like the ending
Yeah,
is
it's
a little different. Yeah.
Those are always fun. What else? I think a couple things because Ian's not here. Rip, rest in peace. I think he wanted to touch on like two things. He mentioned like yellow, red, and blue Pokemon, like the Mew.
Yeah, the like I don't even know what you would call it. Like the fake secrets, basically.
Yeah, it was. I guess. Remember how like I think it was like
because like everybody had like, oh, if you need strength, and if you use strength on the truck, there's a Pokeball and it's Mew under there. Something about the SS Anne.
Oh, there's
everybody had
SSN.
some crazy theory about that.
Man, reading up on those stuff was just so fun because it was like, this is so ridiculous. But part of me was always like, but is it true? And then it gets debunked. I'm like, no, just kidding.
What if it's true? Or then like it ends up something like that is true.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, that's not true. But like after you beat the game, if you go in this cave, you meet Mewtwo, and you're just like, nah, you're lying. You're lying. Like go in the cave. And you see, like, they have a custom sprite for Mewtwo. You're like, oh, God. Like, same with, like, in Ruby and Sapphire, in order to find Rayquaza, you have to go through this, like, ridiculous series of events.
Yeah.
Or even, like, for the Reggie Pokemon, you have to either know how to read Braille,
or
you look up what it's saying.
And obviously, at the time, we just look it up because...
Yeah, you just look it up
because I don't know what this means. Man, those were always fun. Trying to get like, I remember like my dad was the one that played Yellow because I was like too young to like comprehend shit, or at least do it well. And
yeah,
because I was like, what? I was so young to do that, but he would play the entire thing. And I remember watching him like get to Mewtwo because he was like reading up on it, and he's like, he got to Mewtwo, and he's like, this battle's hard, and so he just like left. Man,
yeah, like the old legendary Pokemon are so fun to find because even with like Zapdos in the Electric Factory.
Oh yeah,
it was like just another secret you had to find.
Remember the for Silver and Gold, the dogs you had to do certain, like I think Entei was automatic. Yep. Suicune was automatic in Crystal, but I think Raikou you had to do like a certain like event, or it had to be at a certain day and time to get him. I remember like me being a kid waiting to like that hour, and then finally I got in an encounter with him, and then he ran away.
Yep, just like, well, I'll never see him again
because I'm not doing this shit. Man.
And it's like those secrets where the secrets are really hard, but they're also super rewarding.
Yeah, no,
I don't know which one I prefer more. Like between just like the cool Easter egg, or the like you're gonna spend 10 hours trying to figure it out.
Rewarding would be nice, but it's like I think sometimes I'd rather just have like you see an Easter egg and just go nice, cool.
It's like nice, yeah. Whereas like you're just like suffering, like please, I just want
like
the
if it's like the slog, just the slog of getting to like that one part, or just like trying to obtain something, maybe. But
I mean that's how like when I think for all of us when we were trying to get Malfeasance in Destiny. Because like I mean technically it's like a secret gun, but it's just like you are suffering because the quest is long, and suffering because it's Gambit. You're just like, please, I just want to be done.
Gambit, dude. Yeah, like nah. There's so much cool like it's so fun to like see. Like just speaking of Destiny, like I can't wait to see if they drop like new guns like that again. Like just experiencing that, because I feel like for us it's kind of different because we actually had to like we got to. And I guess it's also different. I think nowadays it's different too. Like just tying together. Like I think having YouTube, just having people like actually do the work.
Yeah, like that's like Datto on YouTube. That's like his thing. He figures out the secrets so everybody can do the secrets.
Essentially, it's you want to get this gun. This is how you do it. Here's this whole quest line.
Like here are the steps broken down for everything. It's like okay, thanks. Like unless you're one of those like upper echelon people, it's like you don't have to go through that slog anymore.
Man,
because same with raids. Like in any MMO raid,
figuring that out.
It's just like who wants day first. It's like No one
No.
wants day first. You're just trying to figure out, like, essentially 6 or 7 different huge secrets to figure out how to just beat a level.
And that's like, rounding it out to like Final Fantasy, you know, like that whole end part. I'm sure like base game, like actually doing it, like figuring out what to do was probably like a part of it, like just trying to accomplish it. But, and I guess it's just like for that game, it's kind of different. But normally I like that kind of stuff. But for raids, if I know it's gonna be like an hour, like hours of like just slogging through shit, maybe not. Maybe I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it just depends on the scale of like how much, like, is like that secret ending or like that weapon totally worth, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's kind of where, slightly going off on a tangent, where Final Fantasy puts itself differently than other MMOs. Because I feel like, I'm going to use WoW as an example. I feel like WoW's like raid mechanics tend to be more of those secrets. Like you kind of have to figure it out. Whereas in Final Fantasy, I feel like the difficulty in raids is just like execution.
Yeah.
Because I feel like they're better about telling you like, hey, this thing is happening.
That's true.
You just need to figure it out.
Yeah, like
because like you see like, hey, the boss is gonna do this attack. This is its range. And you're like, okay, how do I need to figure it out. Whereas in WoW, it's just like the boss is doing something.
The boss is doing something, while like in Final Fantasy, you see the attack choreographed. Like you could look at the ground and like, oh, they're about to do this. I have to stand here. And it's just like knowing the pattern.
Like, it's more based on like you can't mess up, basically.
So I guess it just depends on like your taste. Like if you want to like actually discover something. And I mean, I'm sure that's super satisfying too, because I like that kind of stuff. Like, but I guess just
it comes to a certain point where just like it's been 4 hours, we're not getting anywhere.
Bro, you like year one Destiny. Like you remember how like I ran you guys through like the first raid in Destiny, like the Leviathan.
Yeah, like we ran through Leviathan.
And like, man, first, wow, year one, we had to look, like we were going to, but like looking it up, it was so hard. Like still trying to figure it out.
It's like when we did Garden, like we knew in theory what to do to beat Garden of Salvation, but we just like we're messing up. Yeah, we just had bad execution.
Yeah, man. But hey, man, we could 3 phase it now, 2 phase it now. Yeah, we can complete it now.
Nice.
It's like not.
It doesn't take us like 6 hours.
It's because we finally and it's the same thing with raids. Like we figured out the best way for us on how to do it. Versus there's so many, and I think that's the fun part for raids is like, oh, sometimes there's like the optimal way, or there's like another kind of.
I think that's where our friends get tripped up. Like specifically, like there's like 2 of our friends who, like, I'm going to use Final Fantasy as an example because they've played before and they have really really high level accounts. So like, oh, here's the speedrun way to do it. And then it's like, we're not speedrunners. We're level like 50. We don't have best in slot. We need to do it differently. And they're like, we just do it this way. We're like, we can't.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, like that is the fun part where we're not doing the best way. We're just doing this super jank way.
And and that's the fun part because it's like you're less stressed than like trying to, like you're less stressed than trying to actually do it perfectly. Versus just actually
trying to do it.
Like actually like just getting, because I remember like it was like always essentially it was like, oh, we should do this thing twice in order to extend the duration of the damage phase. Yeah. But in reality we're like, or just do it like, once, we just can't, and just damage him and then just do another phase.
Yeah, just get damage in.
Yeah. So anyway, that's like great stuff. But
raids are fun secrets though. Yeah. Like they are kind of fun secrets.
It tests you in a certain way, you know? Like, and I think that's like a lot of like secret ending stuff or like just weapons. Some of the like missions or like quests and stuff, they test like your acumen to like actually, I guess,
like how well you know the game.
Yeah, that's a better way to say it. I was trying to find a word. I'm like, nah, it's just that.
Yeah.
Secrets are fun.
Secrets
actually,
are no fun.
You asked me what was my favorite.
But they are
thing.
fun.
It was yours? Oh no, you mentioned it. It was like the.
I think that's my like coolest one. It ties into my favorite game, because my favorite game is Legend of Dragoon, there's this like entire other like secret dungeon basically that you can do that has the hardest bosses like in the game. And I found that entirely by accident.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah, because I was just like wandering around like, oh, what's in here? And I found them, and like they're really fun boss fights. And there's like a twofold thing, because there's like that secret area with the secret bosses, and there's another secret boss / like secret storyline that I actually never did because it is a gigantic pain in the ass. Because it goes for the like, oh, we'll do it the old school way where it's just super hard. Because there are these items you can get in the game called Stardust. They don't do anything, but you have to collect enough to where like a secret quest opens up basically. And the way you get Stardust, because I think there's 45 of them in the game, you just have to know where they are. Like that's just straight up. Yeah, because they don't show up in the game, and you just have to go to where they are, and you just push X, and you're like, you got Stardust. So unless you check every single spot, you're just spamming X, you basically have to either have the guide or you've played before. And that's the thing where when I found out, it's like, well, I guess I have to go back and play the game. Because I went back and played the game and found them all, because it's just a giant pain in the ass otherwise. But it's like, okay, I have the wiki up, I just go to these spots. And it's another secret where you can just straight up miss out. Because since the game is set out in acts, if you don't get all the Stardust in Act 1, you can't go back to Act 1 anyway. Gosh.
So you actually do it from start to finish correctly.
Yeah, you have to do it correctly. But it was really fun. Because it was like a really fun boss fight.
It's cool.
But that's probably my favorite one. The coolest one, I think, is the Darkest Dungeon.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I remember you mentioning it, but I was like, I think that's the coolest one he said. But man, makes me want to play games right now.
Makes me same.
Man, sucks that so
yeah, he just it was his topic and he just died.
Rest in peace, dude. But I think other than that,
rest in peace this episode. Yeah, let's wrap it up before we devolve. Harrison, take it away.
But okay, fine. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. You can listen to us on YouTube. I guess if you want to listen to other stuff, you can go on YouTube. And if you have any other questions or topic suggestions, you could just tweet us at SuperBoss Pod or just email us at superbossfeedback@gmail.com. And other than that, yeah, just reach out on our socials and just let us know how we're doing, or just, talk to us. Because I don't have the ending outro prompt, so just spoilers.
Harrison said. We appreciate your feedback. If you have any feedback, tweet us, message us, email us. Thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Bye. 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 Bye.